with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 30 and change, and it is a Friday, everybody. So I hope you are waking up with us and you are in a fantastic mood, because it is essentially the weekend. Join in on the action. The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. You know the drill. Bottom left-hand side of your screen is the social media handle. Of course, the news going around is that you need to subscribe to the Romanellas on YouTube. Head to youtube.com/the Romanellas and hit that subscribe button, because on September 2nd, the Rome Show will be headed to the Romanellas on YouTube. We'll stay on the Twitter sphere and we'll stay on the Facebook sphere as well. Just a slightly different mothership for the people. You can get in on the action at youtube.com/12OZ Sports for the next 6 broadcasts. Finally, a good show for the people today. But if you're listening to this show and you're like, I got to share it with a friend, this guy's good. We got to share this. The Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, just search the Rome Show podcast. Let's get this thing started. I need to talk a little Jaxson Dart and the New York Football Giants. I got it straight off the Rome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal, okay? Jaxson Dart is the new franchise quarterback for the New York Football Giants. That is 100% a fact. Ooh, hot take. Could be a hot take. Could be actually what is going to happen for the next 10 to 15 years for the New York Football Giants and their fan base. Yesterday, we had Rocky Romanella on for Rocky's Roundups, and we asked him the question about the Giants. And before he could answer in discussing Jaxson Dart, Russell Wilson, Dayball, and his feelings on the Giants, he simply said, I'm not going to put a lot of stock in the preseason. Actually, this is the most I've actually paid attention to the preseason. And he's not wrong. He's actually 99.7% correct. But as I thought about it last night, when I was watching the Giants beat the Patriots 42-10 in the preseason, okay? And I'm watching Jaxson Dart play the game, and I'm thinking about the preseason he has had. And I'm saying to myself, this is their franchise quarterback. Like, there are things you can see in the preseason. Despite the things that lie to you in the preseason, there are some things that you can figure out. That's a fact. We have witnessed other rookie quarterbacks go into the preseason, look really good, and it turns out that they are as good as we thought they were going to be based on the first 3 to 4 games that they played. Now, that doesn't mean that the minute Jaxson Dart starts for this team in 2025, 2026, or somewhere in between, it does not mean that he's going to go out there and dominate and put up the numbers to a degree that he's put up in his 3 appearances so far in the preseason. But what you're seeing with this kid, what you're seeing with this QB right now in the quarterback room for the Giants, in my opinion, is the future under center for the New York Football Giants. Now, that does not mean he has to be seen in 2025. That doesn't mean that you got to rush him in there. Let's go, man. Let's go win this thing. That's not happening this year. There's a lot of other things that need to be figured out for the Giants. First and foremost, is this the coach and the general manager that if this man is your franchise quarterback moving forward, that you want leading his charge? Because though we've kept Dayball and Shane to lead the Giants, and they are the two that made this draft pick happen, you still need to see that in year 4, they are the unit that should be leading you moving forward. Because if this is your franchise quarterback and you believe the next 10 to 15 years post Jameis and Russell Wilson era, you believe that this guy should be under center, then you instantaneously need to say, who's our Andy Reid? Who's our Bill Belichick to Tom Brady? Who's our McDermott to Josh Allen? Because if we don't have that combination, you don't have anything. If you have a great quarterback that can't stay in the same system, that has bad coaches around him, it doesn't necessarily matter how great he is because he still needs the coach. It's a unit. And we might forget that sometimes. I think sometimes, and I'm not going down this tangential path fully, but I think sometimes we forget how important the coach is, especially at the professional level. So what I've seen from Jaxson Dart right now tells me that he is. There's really no questions about it. I don't need to feel it out. I don't need any of that stuff. Okay? In the preseason, 3 games, 32 for 47, 68% on that completion percentage for 372 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran the ball 6 times for 52 yards and a touchdown. Outside of the numbers, outside of what looks like the decision making, okay? He's in the pocket. Like, he can run, but if you've watched him in his first 3 games, any pressure that's come his way, he's maneuvered the pocket. He's used his feet. He hasn't just gotten out and run. Okay. At the same time, he's got that swag and that energy that you want to be around, that you're like, dude, my QB1 needs that. He's got some stupidity. We might need to bring in Francisco Lindor or somebody of his ilk to teach him how to slide. Took a hit last night. That's all subjective, though. Should he have slid? Should he not have slid? Taking contact. I mean, he's playing football. So it's kind of impossible to avoid just absolutely getting crushed by the other team, especially when you're the quarterback and people live to do that. And that's a game-changing play. Obviously, he's not 100% polished. Obviously, he's only played 3 preseason games. I'm not anointing him a Hall of Famer. I'm not out here saying he's about to be the greatest Giants quarterback of all time. That's not what we're doing here. But what we are doing here, August 22nd, 2025, 7:15 in the morning, I am stating right now that I believe on August 22nd, 2035, when we are getting ready for the 2035 NFL season, and we are doing 32 teams in 32 days, as we've been doing, and we're in this same moment, I believe that Jaxson Dart will still be QB1 for the New York Football Giants. And you can call that take all you want. And I don't think it's too early to say it because, again, I'm not anointing him a Pro Bowler. I'm not anointing him a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying, in 10 years, barring crazy injury or anything else nutty that happens, this man should be QB1 for the New York Football Giants. And to finish my straight off the Rome today, the Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. Make sure you hit subscribe. Go to the Rome Show, or excuse me, the Romanellas on YouTube. Hit subscribe there as well. If you're a Giants fan today, if you're a Giants fan yesterday, if you're a Giants fan at all, the last 3 weeks and heading into the next 3 weeks, here's my PSA for you, okay? Because for the last 3 weeks, the Giants fans gotten a little excited. The Giants fans had something to be pumped about. The Giants fan is like, all right, here we go. This is exciting, right? Okay, maybe we're figuring something out here. We had to deal with losing Saquon last year. Then he goes and wins the Super Bowl with the Eagles. We've been atrocious. Dealt with the Daniel Jones thing for a while. Now we got this Jaxson guy. Okay. All right. And you're excited. You should be. You deserve to be. Rightfully so. This could be the start of a really nice decade for the Giants and the Giants fan. But 3 weeks from now, Giants fan, remember this. This is your PSA because you'll be heading into week 2. You'll have already played a game, and you're going to need to remember that you still weren't a playoff team heading into this season. You might have playoff pieces. There might be things there that are going to have you contending. And yeah, if you play above your neck all year, you can make the playoffs. But you got one of the top 3 hardest schedules in the league. And you still have all these question marks, okay? So there are still things you need to figure out. This is not the anointment of now the Giants back into playoff contention, but I need the Giants fan to remember how excited they were today about Jaxson Dart. And in 3 weeks, when you're at MetLife or you're on your couch and they are disappointing you because they are not ripe to win yet, and they have a hard schedule, and there are still other things that need to mesh, especially in the first 4 weeks of the season. Don't go into negative land. Don't go into depressed Giants fan land. No. Just remember this moment. Remember who you have waiting in the wings, and he's not Jesus. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl just like that. But there is a foundation to be excited about. And even if that's one player, I don't believe it is just one player, but let's just believe you're a Giants fan that thinks everyone in this unit is atrocious, minus maybe Jaxson Dart's future. That's better than 0. And there are other franchises, despite what it might have looked like the last few years, that are way worse than where the New York Football Giants are. I'll take my Dolphins, for example. It might have looked okay the last 3 or 4 years. Head coach feels cool. Feels like they have their franchise quarterback. They signed Tyreek Hill. What's that done? What's that given the Miami Dolphins? Nothing. Honestly, it makes me feel like we're farther away from a Super Bowl because it makes me feel like we're a franchise meddling in mediocrity the entirety of the time. When there's so many other things we could have been doing or could have done or should have done that would have kept us a 10 to 15-year team with a quarterback that could stay in the game. So we could keep our offense the same for 17 games out of the year. I actually like more now where the Giants fan sits than I do the Miami Dolphins fan. I mean that honestly. The Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. We are broadcasting live on YouTube and X. Before we take this commercial break, I remind you got to subscribe to the Romanellas on YouTube because on September 2nd, the Rome Show, though will look the same, the host will look the same as well, maybe a haircut or two, whatever. You just need to make sure you go to YouTube and get it there. The Rome Show 1, as I've been saying on all the social medias, follow that, and then everything else will be easy. We're going to take a quick commercial break here. When we come back, the Astros in Major League Baseball have made a trade or a signing. It could go either way. At the end of the day, they brought somebody in that's a name that you know. However, this man was in minor league baseball for the last few months. So I will see what this does, but there's a reason why. And then I told you 32 teams, 32 days. Detroit Lions today. That's a very exciting one. And we finish with, because it's Friday.
What you watching?
I'm going to give it to you, so you better be listening all the way through the end of the show. The Rome Show, back after this commercial break.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
See all my beautiful, fresh little baseball faces again at Centenary University. And boy, am I stoked. Headed into year 4, I could not be more excited about my team. And not just the baseball that they're going to play, but like the human beings that they are. And when I started this career, which is wild, I'm going on to my 12th year of being a coach. When I started this career 12 years ago, everyone was like, oh, man, the feeling of you having your own team is like the greatest feeling. And, you get the chance, you become a head coach. I've been a college head coach. This is going to be my 6th year as a college head coach. But you really don't ever have your team until you go through the process of building it. And I'm in my 4th year now. So for me, it really signifies that it's the team that myself, my staff, and whoever else has helped this thing over the last 3.5 years has built. So it's cool. It's really cool. Like, I'm stoked. And I was fortunate the last 3 years. We had some of the best kids ever. I still talk to a bunch of them, golf with a bunch of them. All awesome too. So it's like, I'm very fortunate situation with the players on my team where, a lot of coaches can't wait till kids graduate. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, man, I'm excited because we've built this thing for 4 years, but those kids were really cool and I'm going to miss them. So either way, exciting day on this side of the table. I hope the same for you. Before the break, I told you that the Astros made a trade or a signing. Either way, it happened. They signed Craig Kimbrell, the longtime closer. Probably remember him the most for his time in Atlanta, but he has bounced around the league a lot after going from Atlanta to Boston, and then over the last 5 years has been a part of about 6 or 7 different franchises. Craig Kimbrell, by the way, before I tell you where he signed or what he's been doing before he signed with the Astros, 9-time All-Star, was the Rookie of the Year. He actually won a World Series. I believe that was with the Boston Red Sox. And he's won multiple reliever awards. He has a career ERA in Major League Baseball of 2.59. He has appeared in 838 games, pitched 810 innings, and has 1,266 strikeouts. Excuse me. For the last few months, he was pitching in the Texas Rangers minor league system. That's how much the man loves the game. I mean, he's 37 years old with a World Series. He could potentially 440 saves in his career, could potentially be a Hall of Famer, especially if he somehow sticks around and gets 60 more saves. I don't know if he will. That's a tough thing to do, but nonetheless, those are arguably Hall of Fame numbers from a reliever now that we look at that position differently, thanks to the likes of Hoffman, Wagner, Rivera, and others. Franco for the Mets. 28 Ks in 21 innings, 3.86 ERA for the Rangers AAA affiliate. Then signed with the Braves, pitched 1 inning, then was released, and now signs with the Houston Astros. Just so you're aware, the Astros leading up to July 1st had one of the best ERAs from their bullpen at 3.47 since July 1st, which is why they went out and did whatever they could to get anyone that they could, being Craig Kimbrell in this situation. Their ERA has been one of the worst in Major League Baseball, of 4.69 in the last 8 weeks. So making some moves, the Astros are, to see if they can continue to put themselves in position to contend for another World Series. They are 2 games up currently on the Seattle Mariners right now in the AL West. That's a battle, though, because the Astros ended a 4-game losing streak last night with a victory, whereas the Mariners are on a 5-game slide right now. So it's a situation where both teams have been really streaky, especially over the last 6 weeks. So though the Astros are up by 2, it could easily flip the opposite direction. And you can see the Mariners take this thing as well. But nonetheless, the Astros trying to make some moves because their bullpen has not been great down the stretch. By the way, if you were wondering, the Yankees are now the top wild card spot in the American League. They are a half game up on hated Boston. And then the aforementioned Seattle Mariners are a game behind Boston and a game and a half behind the Yankees. And then the Kansas City Royals are 2 games back of the Mariners, and the Cleveland Guardians are 3 games back of that tight race in the American League wild card. If you flip to the main page of the American League, the Yankees are 4.5 back of the AL East leading Toronto Blue Jays, and the Yankees currently playing the Red Sox in a 3-game series. Teaser alerts.
What you watching?
The Red Sox took game 1 last night. In the National League, ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Cubs are 5.5 up on the 3rd place New York Metropolitans and a game up on the 2nd place wild-carded San Diego Padres. The Cubs are 5.5 back. The Cincinnati Reds, went backwards there, are a half game back of the New York Mets, who are continuing to play atrocious baseball and lost 2 of 3 to the lowly Washington Nationals, who are 15 games back, to put it into perspective, of the Metropolitans in the 3rd wild card. The Phillies are 7 games up on the Mets right now. Unbelievable. At some point in time, that team's got to turn it around. And if they don't, they're looking at a Tito Francona-led Cincinnati Reds team that will gladly take that 3rd wild card spot. The Padres, they've won 3 straight, been playing some pretty good baseball, and the Cubbies, 6 wins in their last 10 contests. That's your Major League Baseball update for today, Friday, August 22nd, The Rome Show, 12-ounce sports, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed any part of this show or you want to share it with a friend, The Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, it's time now for the final segment of the day. 32 teams in 32 days, breaking down NFL training camp. Let's get it. All right, people. I told you today we'd be breaking down the Detroit Lions. If this is your first time hearing 32 and 32, the rules are simple. Andrew picks a team. He stays in the same division, goes through those 4 teams, breaks down 1 each day, and then gives you what his prediction of the division is. So we are currently lying in the NFC North, and we are currently discussing the reigning NFC North champion, Detroit Lions. Last year, the Lions finished at 15-2. You probably didn't realize it. You might have forgotten, because they were beaten by 2 touchdowns in the divisional round by the Washington Commanders. Okay, 45-31. And because the end of the season, I believe, felt so lowly for the Detroit Lions based on how good they were throughout the regular season. Again, 15-2. You forget how, again, good they were throughout the year. We've already broken down the Vikings, who we discussed went 14-3. And when I started the Vikings, when I said they were the number 5 seed in the postseason, because the Detroit Lions were that good last year. Top to bottom, especially on the offensive side. Because when you look at this team as a whole, a lot of talent, but this was the number, essentially 1.5 offense in the league last year. Number 1 in total yards, they got 423.9 a game, and number 1 in points per game. Last season, this Lions offense scored 33.2 points per game. That's reckless. And Jamison Williams got hurt midway through the year, which took away their insane two-headed running back monster with him and Jahmyr Gibbs. Think about that. And by the way, just as a reminder, their quarterback's Jared Goff. So despite what you might think, well, I don't know, actually. How about I say this? Despite what people might feel about him, he's leading this team to being the best offense in the league. Because every time I hear a QB list or someone talk about how good or how bad that guy is, I don't get no love for Jared Goff. And I get it. He's not sexy. He's not what we want it to look like in 2025. But this offense was elite. And they were first in total yards and points per game and second in pass yards per game and rush yards per game. 263 and 146 on each side of the ball. So you are returning what should be a top 5 offense in the league. Now, the X factor is not in the players in this scenario fully, but more the coach on both sides of the ball. You lose Ben Johnson, he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and you lose Aaron Glenn as your defensive coordinator. He's now the head coach of the New York Jets. On top of that, Frank Ragnow, your starting center and leader for this team, retires unexpectedly in the offseason. Look no further than those 3 changes right there as to whether or not this Detroit Lions team is going to be good enough headed into 2025 to repeat what they did last year. And why I say that is they're not 15-2 again. I think by nature of the difficulty of this sport, even if they returned every singular person next year, they're 13-3. Okay? That's what I think. 13-4. Okay? That's what I think. Now you eliminate the OC. You eliminate the DC. You eliminate the starting center. You eliminate a guard. You have to make some changes defensively, and you were only really a top 15 defense, nothing spectacular last year. You look at all that and you say, well, there's no chance they could really repeat what they did last year and be that elite as a football team. They have the weapons. Will the offensive line hold up? That's a key. Can your defense improve? Your linebackers coach, Kelvin Shepard from last year, is now your defensive coordinator. What type of schemes is he cooking up for your defense? Is there enough pressure there? Can your defense, who was 7th in the league last year in opponents' points per game, huge, you were in a plus 13 point differential the entire year. You only gave up 20 points a game. You scored 33. But they were terrible in the pass game. 20th in the league. Okay in the run game. 10th in the league. Those are things that, why do you go and lose to the Washington Commanders and give up 45? Well, because outside of injuries and the other things that went on late in the year, there were holes in this defense, and the Commanders exploited them. There weren't many holes in this offense. That's why they scored 30 points a game. So look no further than OCDC, the center, the midpoint of the offensive line, and just in general, can this defense, because the last 3 years, the Detroit Lions have been trending this way. Ever since the comment of I'm going to bite the kneecaps from Dan Campbell when he got the job, they have been trending this way. But this defense, though it got better under Aaron Glenn, never really has ever been that scary. Has never been something that you are, I don't want to play the Lions. No, honestly, you go in to play the Lions, you say, all right, let's just go to a shootout right now. They score, we score, they score, we score. Let's ride. So there's a lot of change here, even though there's a lot of consistency, if that makes any sense. Well, I don't necessarily feel great about it. Do I think that they're going to go and be a non-playoff team? No. And if that's the case, something went really awry. But I don't know, actually, if they win this division. I actually think we're going to get a bunch of teams mixed up here between 9 and 12 wins. And it's kind of the same thing we had last year. Green Bay 11, Minnesota 14, and Detroit 15. But dumbify that a little bit. Okay, bring the Lions and the Vikings closer to the pack of the Bears and the Green Bay Packers, and now you have a knockdown, drag-out division. I got the Lions going 10-7 in 2025. Is that a good enough for the division? I don't know. You'll have to tune in on Monday at 7 a.m. when I give you my breakdown fully of the NFC North after finishing the Bears. Bears. Oh, what are you watching?
What you watching?
This weekend, it is simple. I just mentioned to you how tight the American League East race is in Major League Baseball, and it's a fun one. And right now, you have the chance for the Red Sox and the Yankees rivalry to come back. Everyone has often said that that is one of, if not the greatest rivalry in sports general, not just Major League Baseball, sports general. Well, the last 10 to 15 years of player moving around and lack of loyalty and the lack of popularity in Major League Baseball, that series, Yankees versus Red Sox, has taken a serious hit. We really haven't seen the depths of that series since probably closer to 2005, 2009, 2010, the latest. Outside of that, it really hasn't been a rivalry on either side of the fence. Maybe actually more so Boston than New York. Well, Boston took game one last night. We just mentioned how tight they are in the race, and they have 2 more games the next 2 days, today and tomorrow. So,
What you watching?
this weekend, it needs to be the Yankees and the Red Sox. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to get out of here. You enjoy your weekend. I hope it is electric. Make sure you tune into the Rome Show on Monday at 7 a.m. as we continue to bring you your morning wake up. Oh, and by the way, subscribe to the Romanellas on YouTube, the Rome Show on Instagram, Facebook, Jaxson, TikTok. Okay. And I don't know. Until Monday, I'll see you. Peace.
Thank you for listening.